Today we're going to talk about how to self-promote as a business owner. Oh shit! I can hear all the introverts thinking to themselves loudly, that of course they'd never say it out loud, why can't I just let my work speak for itself? Because nobody is listening, dear heart. The amount of competition for even fleeting awareness of you and your amazing WAS names is ridiculous. Nobody is going to hear you clapping with one hand in the forest, okay? These days, people don't come to you unless you're running a shop. And even then, you have to tell them about your shop and you have to entice them inside. Oh, gee, well, it's been like that ever since, probably since the invention of shops. Yeah, so I'm really glad we had this little chat about promotion. So now let's talk about you promoting you. A little definition moment first. There's a big difference between self-promoting and bullshitting, okay? And that difference is that you can back up everything that you say when you're self-promoting, but you can only tell more lies to defend yourself when you're caught out bullshitting, because there's no substance behind your claims. And why is this important? Because self-promotion comes much more naturally to some people. But you can only tell more lies to defend yourself when you're caught out bullshitting, because there's absolutely no substance behind your claims. Self-promotion is actually extremely important. Now, I'm just going to point this out. It comes a lot more naturally to some people. Can't think of anybody in particular. But for a lot of people, the task is a lot more difficult, particularly if they're introverts or they're people who like to kind of keep out of the limelight. Self-promotion also means having to indulge in that dreaded word, networking. And yes, it can strike fear into the hearts of mere mortals like you and me. But networking is a key part of running a business, and it's a key part of building your personal brand. So how can you make self-promotion a little bit easier for yourself and ensure that you're not becoming obnoxious because you're messaging all the time, or that you're freaking out so much that you just, you just get so scared of doing it that you stop? Okay, I've got a few tips for you, funnily enough. Number one, be more self-aware. Self-awareness is so important to keep in mind when you're self-promoting, or indeed in any aspect of your life, quite frankly. Being self-aware is about having an understanding of your place in a conversation, of being conscious of your actions and your choice of words. It's basically thinking about other people and their perception and considering how you would see yourself. It's basically thinking of other people and their perceptions, and then you thinking about how they see you. Now, for some people, this is just normal, but you'd be surprised how difficult lots of people seem to find it. So for a start, don't intrude on every conversation at an event or on social media, or seek to railroad through with your message or whatever you're up to at the moment. Self-promotion is a subtle art, and it's about building foundations and relationships. Instead of the equivalent of getting out your microphone and blowing out your resume, don't do that. Listen to others, engage with them, and where it's appropriate and relevant, you can tell them a bit about you too. Now, another thing that's really important and will help you a lot, it's actually not about you, it's about the mission. Guiltless self-promotion comes from a good understanding of your mission and what unique value you bring to the world. Because your work is not about you, it's about the people that you serve and how you transform their lives and their businesses. So develop a really strong sense of self and pride that you are good at what you do and other people benefit from it. Having a strong sense of who you are and knowing that what you do is valuable and enables you to create something positive in the world will help you to promote yourself. Now look, you might get some negative feedback or backlash from the external world about the work that you're doing, but ignore it. You know that what you're doing and why you're doing it is the right thing, and that's all that matters. Next thing, have strong opinions about certain subjects. Position yourself as an expert, whether that's in graphic design or web development or social media. You must be able to show that you know what you're talking about and have the confidence to have strong opinions. Otherwise, why would anybody trust you enough to buy from you? So if the client says, well, what do you think about something? Oh, not really sure. Well, on the one hand, it could go this way, or not. Oh, give us a break. But you know what? I've talked to people who do that. It was a short conversation, okay? And this also goes to making predictions based on your experience. Well, Ms. Client, I'm pretty sure that if we promote your brand in the way that I've outlined in my proposal, then we're going to get excellent results. and you will get a great return on your investment with us. That's self-promotion and it's confidence in what you can do. Now, the next thing to do is to make sure you stay authentic. Look, self-promotion is obviously about trying to convey positive messages, but it doesn't have to mean all the time that you're like Superman or Superwoman and that everything's going really, really well. Being honest and authentic about your struggles and failures can be just as effective, if not more so, than pretending that everything's been plain sailing, because it ain't like that and everybody knows it. In fact, it's critical to let people know that you've grown and you've learned from your mistakes as well as your successes. People can relate to and connect with vulnerabilities because they've got them as well. So sharing your story in a way that's authentic and even being a little bit hard on yourself at times can actually be a really good and truthful way to promote yourself, which people will notice and they'll pick up on in the long run, and they'll think, you know what, Steve, he's a little unusual, but he's pretty honest about the fact that not everything's gone well for him, and I can kind of relate to that. He's had some hard times and he's had some good times and he's learnt from both. Yeah, I'm going to use Steve in the future. Okay, the next thing to do is to promote others. Give and you shall receive. Practice being someone that gives other people credit for things that they've done, and also talks about how good they are if they happen to be in your industry or people around you. Just make sure that you're seen as being one of those people that always likes to help and support others, because then people around you are more likely to return the favor. Now, you shouldn't just say things for the sake of it, because then it comes across as inauthentic, okay? But if you're principled about promoting people doing good things, and they have done good things, then the chances are that you'll start to see people doing the same thing for you. Being generous and sharing other people's success is a positive action. And whether you get anything back from it or not, the other person will feel valued. I have two things I'm going to say here. The first one is, have you heard of a thing called a random act of kindness? If you haven't, now you have. A random act of kindness is just doing something for somebody because you can and because it's going to help them. The other thing I'm going to say is that we have 6 values in Businessmentals, and value number 3 is everybody wins because there's enough in this for everybody. So we do a lot of work promoting people and rewarding people for their contribution to our success. And do you know what? They work so much harder than they would otherwise. It's a really, really good virtuous circle, and we all benefit from it. Another thing that you consider doing is asking your close buddies and your family to do some self-promotion for you if you don't feel very comfortable doing it yourself. If you can't write about yourself, ask somebody who knows you well to do it for you. So then you can just practice saying the right things about yourself, but you just didn't have to go through the agony for you of writing them down in the first place. And you know what? It can actually work really well, because sometimes if people see that somebody else is saying something good about them, then that carries a lot more weight than you personally telling somebody how great you are. This is where testimonials come in. That's the whole point about testimonials. Right, the next thing, number 6, is to keep it interesting. Nobody has the time to hear your whole life story, okay? However interesting you might think it is. So just keep your self-promotion concise and impactful, and only include the really good parts that pack a punch. So a good practice is to write down your key points at home, so that if you get into a conversation or you're asked anything online, you can quickly reel off some of the best parts about you instead of a monologue that trundles around and finally disappears from boredom. So be careful not to sound too robotic though, and try not to come across as too polished, okay? We're not talking sport jacket and gold chains and selling white wall tire cars, because otherwise it's going to sound like a sales pitch. And be a bit lighthearted, don't take yourself too seriously. And then the last thing is to let go of the need to please everybody. You're never going to please all the people all the time. The degree to which you try to make everybody happy is the degree to which you are going to suffer. There's a very old Chinese proverb which goes, if you judge your success in terms of praise or criticism, your anxiety will be endless. It's a very, very good saying. Now, if you're being authentic and true, the right people will find you, they'll resonate with you, and they'll buy from you, and they'll be pleased to have met you, and they'll enjoy working with you. And look, it's worth mentioning here that just because you're not trying to win everybody's approval, doesn't mean that you throw the baby out with the bathwater. Self-promotion should be appropriate and professional, especially if you've got a license, for example, in social work or psychology or medicine and so on. So we can all use both self-promotion and self-disclosure to help others without compromising our business if we do it with care and grace, what I call ease and elegance. Because the truth is, people who are comfortable with promoting themselves are more successful in business and during their careers. Now, it's your job to focus on your mission and cast the fear and people-pleasing bit aside and surround yourself with like-minded people so that you can create the visibility and the credibility that you need for you and your business to move forward. Because you know what? Magic happens when you put yourself out there authentically, and you were born to shine. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It'll help support the channel. And if there's anything that you'd like for me to talk about, drop them in the comments below. And don't forget to hit the bell icon and be part of the notification squad to get notified every time we upload, because I respond to questions in the first hour. I'll see you on the next video, and I'll catch you later.